Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins and today is Watercolor Wednesday. Whoops. Hang on there. Let's get this set up. There we go. All right. Sorry, having a little technical difficulty there. So I have a really beautiful bouquet to share with you today. Oops, there go the peonies. So here are some of the roses that are growing in my garden. And this one is the William Baffin rose from the Explorer series, very cold hardy. My personal favorite, which are these, the crocus roses. I just love these roses. I've got some nepeta. There's another pink rose here whose name I can't remember offhand, but it's very fragrant. Oh, it's just wonderful. So I thought what we would do today was to paint a kind of a loose overall kind of a wet and wet floral, because that's what these roses always inspire me to want to do. And it's a really easy way to get started if you're just beginning with watercolor, and you'll get some great results. So let's turn you down and we'll do that. So the first thing I want to do is size my watercolor paper. So I have a full sheet which I have to tear down to size. So this is approximately 20 by 30 inches. So I'm just going to get this lined up like so. Give that a gentle crease. And then I'm taking my bone folder and I'm giving that a firm burnish. Now there are several different kinds of bone folders available. This one happens to be a Teflon bone folder. I also have my trusty bone folder, which is actually made from bone, which will work just as well. And I'm going to turn my paper back on itself so that the fold is going the opposite way. And I'm just going to do the same thing again. And one of the reasons why I like using the bone folders to do this is so I'm not smudging the paper with any of the natural oils that will be on my fingertips. And that's important because if you get oil on your watercolor paper, it's going to repel the water and you're going to get a funny kind of design. So let me just, I have to stand up for this. I'm going to push my chair back. I'm going to have to do that another couple of times. It's not burnished enough. The humidity in the air also affects the way your paper tears. So today we've got a kind of a hot, humid day, so it may take a couple extra folds to make this release easily. That's a little better. Okay. Now I'm going to take this piece and do the same thing. Does anybody out there have roses in your garden? I think they're a little bit early this year. We've had so many hot days lately that it's causing the roses to open up a little sooner than normal. But I am happy to see them. Alright, so now I've got a quarter sheet of paper, and this is measuring about 15 by 11, and that's a pretty good size. I'm going to grab my plexiglass and slip that under the paper. Alright, and then I have my spritzer, and I'm just going to give that a good misting. I'm using plenty of water because it's going to take a minute for that water to be absorbed by the paper and get to that central core. Now I'm just going to check to see what side is up. Okay, I want the screen side down. So there we go. And here are my paints. So I've got yellow, red, and blue. I'm going to use my spritzer again and just go ahead and give that a good misting. And I've got two brushes here. So I have the number 7, which is a nice medium-sized brush, and I also have my large number 12, which I've had for a very long time, and it still works great. So this brush I've had for over almost 45 years. And that just goes to show that if you take care of your brushes, they will last you for a very long time. So don't be afraid to invest in a good quality sable brush. Alright, so now I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing better. Well, actually, maybe we'll get the palette in the picture as well. There we go. Alright, so there's the setup. I have a couple of containers of water. I've got my damp sponge. I have a roll of paper towels handy. These are Bounty paper towels, very absorbent. Hey Kelly, hey Ginger. Linda, nice to see you all. Thank you for joining me. So I'm going to get my roses situated where I can look at them so I can be inspired by these beautiful colors. And let's see, I think I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging here so that I can see them from my viewpoint better. Here's that crocus rose that I love so much. Okay, let's get busy. Move this out a touch. All right, so I'm just going to make some puddles of color. just kind of get them started. That little thing off of there. And my pinks. And when you're painting loose like this and wet, you decide when you want to stop, okay? So obviously the longer you work and the drier the paper gets, the more detail you're going to be able to achieve. But there are no rules to say when the picture is finished, okay? So you just have to step away from your work every so often and take a good look to assess where you are and whether or not you want to continue. And even just like this, just hardly anything there, and I'm adding some of this nepeta here and there just to balance it. This would be a perfectly great place to stop if you wanted to use this as decorative paper to use in your paper crafting, or if you want to use it as a background for a note card. So whatever you like. Well, I'm going to now this, I would call this the first wash of my paler tones. I'm going to now add a darker mixture and just get some of my shadow areas started. And I can add a tiny bit of red to my yellow to get a deeper tone. And I'm really letting the water and the paper do all the work here at this stage. Okay, I'm not trying to control it in any way. I'm just adding my values as needed. Now I want to add a little bit of green for my leaves. All right, and then I can mix up a darker green. This time I'm taking more blue, just a little bit of yellow. Okay, and I can just add some of that here and there. Okay, so that's my big brush. I'm going to switch now to my slightly smaller brush. Well, actually, there's quite a bit of a difference here in the sizes. But I want to get some of these tiny nepeta flowers, so just a little bit of this kind of blue violet, and I'm just going to dot some of these to get the texture of those fine flowers, kind of a lacy effect. then we can also get a little bit darker to add the shadow areas. Now, because I'm working wet and wet today, I'm not going to be able to finish in time before the video's over. So I will come back again on Saturday at 12 noon live to do Paper Crafting Saturday, and I will use this painting in a project to give you an idea of what you can do with some of these wonderful loose pictures. Now, I don't want to leave too much of these areas blank, so I'm going to add some very light and just let that run right off the edge. Can you hear all the birds singing in the background? Such a pretty day outside today. The gardens are just bursting with flowers, and the birds are very busy taking care of their babies, their newborns, and it just feels like a slice of heaven here today. Okay, and finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to put some of my darkest mixtures in now. Okay, so that's sort of my overall design. It's still soaking wet, so I'm not going to get any hard edges. I may decide at some point later today after it dries to add some detail, but for now, let me get a darker mixture here. For now, I just want to drop in some indication of the folds of these roses. Okay, so I think you can see just how easy it is to do something very pretty that you can use in a variety of different ways. You could keep it just as is and frame it. You can cut it up and use it for other projects. But you just need 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue, and you can get these wonderful effects. And if you're interested in learning more about watercolor, you can go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com and subscribe to my newsletter, which is called Notes from Dandelion Cottage. And in the newsletter, I list all of the upcoming classes and my beginning watercolor 6-week course. And And there we go. I'm going to get some of these pinks. The only thing you're missing here is the scent of these roses. It's just wonderful. Alright, well I hope this gives you some inspiration to get your paints out and think about having some fun in your garden. If you don't have a garden, go to the store and get yourself a beautiful bouquet of flowers that will not only inspire you to paint something beautiful, but will also inspire you to have beautiful thoughts every time you look at it in your home. So thank you very much for joining me today. I want to just give you a last look at the bouquet, and you can freeze that frame if you like, and you can paint along with me with these beautiful flowers. So there is a 360-degree view . I'm not very well centered here. Sorry about that. All right. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you on Saturday when I continue with this paper and give you some ideas on what you can do with your lovely loose florals. Thank you very much for joining me today, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.